threat of disaster is never pleasant.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers podcast.
These safety measures are essential.
The only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment.
This will be your source of survival instructions and information. Every member of the family must be coached in the business of survival.
Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Welcome back, Cameron.
Yes.
From
survived.
The land of...
The scariest place on the planet.
Yeah. You had a good time, right?
Yeah, we did have a good time.
Yeah.
Had to go to a conference in L.A., and I was just telling Kobe, and when I was there, I told my wife, too, I'm like, I've never been anywhere that's made me feel like Brazil, like third world country, scary, sketchy, as much as it did while I was there in L.A.
Wonderful place. Oh. Just great people, great facilities.
Everybody's super nice.
Super clean air.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No traffic.
Between the stench of human feces and weed.
Yeah.
There's a little sea breeze I caught once in a
some
while.
Of that.
Yeah. I don't know how people do it. I don't know.
Fun stuff, man.
Sadly, it made Las Vegas seem pretty clean. When I came back, I was like, this is nice.
Oh, this is a nice town.
We stayed halfway, and I was like, man, this is probably one of the cleanest places I've ever been.
This is we should live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's getting cleansed right now, though. It's getting washed out into the ocean.
Yeah, they've been getting a lot of that, haven't they?
Yeah, ton.
Good Lord.
Beautiful country, dirty, nasty people.
Yeah. There's some good people.
There are some good people there.
Yeah.
They live on the outskirts. They definitely don't live downtown.
They don't live in the belly of the beast.
No. It's a great, the state's amazing.
Yeah, sure.
But it's just all the people there and the beliefs there.
LA is just dirty. I don't care what
it's
anyone says.
It's just those hubs, and I doubt our listeners, any of them are probably in LA.
No, I bet we got one or two.
Maybe. Yeah.
They're probably pissed off at us right now.
They're probably
This
pissed.
place is good.
They're probably pissed that they live there.
Yeah, maybe that's what
they're right. I'm mad, but I can't get out of here.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
This is where I live.
No.
Hey, Cam, today I'm really excited.
Yeah.
How excited are you?
Well, I loved social studies in school. And so today...
Dude, I really did love social studies.
I did. It was awesome. So you can
and...
get a good dose of social studies today.
Yeah, a little geography.
Yeah, get your little books
history.
out. Because we're going to talk about Atlantis.
We're going to find that stuff.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
Not the show. There's like a billion of them.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I am too.
Let's talk about it.
It's interesting and it's weird, and everybody thinks that they came from Atlantis.
Oh, I did. I've got great uncles that lived there.
I know. That's another thing I saw, that United States is like one of the only countries that's like, I'm Irish. It's like, no, you were born in America. You're American.
You're American.
They're like, we want to live like our ancestors were.
Everybody else, they'd be like, I was
German.
American.
No, you were born here, and so was the last 3 generations.
Yeah, you're not even close.
So
I'm German American.
But like you said, we are all Atlanteans.
Yeah.
Atlanteans.
We all come from.
We had to. It's the only one, the biggest, coolest place ever.
Oh
we all came from it.
I'm excited to talk about it today.
Well, before we do so, you tell me what you're going to talk about.
I'm going to talk about Atlantis. That's what I'm going to talk about.
I want you to do this.
You want me to do it?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of stuff that goes into prepping. A lot.
We talk about it.
And one of the most important things that some people may not think about enough is self-reliant medical care.
You're right.
You can't go to school for it. There's no class in college about it unless you were to major or go to, graduate school.
They definitely don't have any classes about
There's
medical.
a cheat. This is a cheat book.
Cheat code. This is like Game Genie.
This is Game Genie
for medical
care. It is the Prepper's Medical Handbook by noted medicine expert and wilderness survival medicine guy, William W. Forgy.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't live in L.A.
No, he doesn't. But he knows his stuff, and he writes it down in an easy-to-read book called the Prepper's Medical Handbook, and you can get your own at preppersmedicalhandbook.com, or you just get it on Amazon.
Beautiful.
I'm telling you, this is one of the easiest medical books to have because it includes almost everything you'll need to survive in the wilderness.
I like that.
So go get it.
Ah, cool.
Speaking of surviving,
the
Atlanteans.
They
didn't.
They had a rough go. They had a good run and a rough go there at the end.
Most advanced, but they were wiped out.
They were wiped out. Cam, do you remember watching the movie Cocoon?
I remember my parents watching it.
Do you?
I just don't remember. I remember details that stood out, like Cocoon.
Like Cocoon, yeah.
This is a weird movie. I just don't remember much about it.
See, I don't remember.
I had no idea that it had anything to do with this.
See, there was this vague thing in the back of my mind somewhere, like Cocoon and Atlantis, and I was like, oh, because we were talking about doing this, and then I'm like,
there's those few movies that I can remember my parents watching.
yeah.
That I don't remember all the details, like Close Encounters.
Oh yeah, sure.
And Cocoon and all those. So.
Yep. So Cocoon was one that I always had in the back of my mind, and I had associated it with Atlantis, and I couldn't remember why. But then we started to research this stuff, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, that's why. Because like the whole plot was like hinged on Atlantis.
I had no idea.
Which is really so. This was a 1985 film directed by the great Ron Howard, which was kind of crazy.
Didn't know that either.
I was actually looking at. I got down in like a rabbit hole on Cocoon. Originally, Robert Zemeckis was going to direct it, but he was doing Romancing the Stone at the time. You remember that movie?
Oh, that's
Romancing the
another
Stone?
one
Yeah.
that I remember my mom watched that one all the time.
But the studios, it hadn't released yet. The studios hated Romancing the Stone before it came out. Like there's like this is a garbage
Really?
movie. This is garbage.
Really?
And so they're like, okay, we're taking you off of Cocoon and we're gonna put Ron Howard on there.
No joke?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
because obviously Ron Howard, great director, right? But Robert Zemeckis is also very, very good. But then Romancing the Stone came out and it was a hit.
Yeah, it was.
And they're like, okay, yeah, you can direct some more
I
movies.
didn't realize
yeah,
that.
it's
That's
just
cool.
really interesting.
That's a cool little thing.
Anyways, so I remember seeing this as a kid. Like I said, vague memories of this movie. But when you look at the plot of this, it makes total sense. So in the movie, about 10,000 years ago, peaceful aliens from the planet Antaria set up an outpost on Earth on Atlantis. Yeah, that's how it starts. And then Atlantis sank. 20 aliens were left behind in these cocoons.
Gotcha.
Okay, and that's kind of how the whole movie kind of goes, and I'm not going to go into the whole plot, but if you've seen Cocoon, now you're connecting the dots like I did.
know that.
Okay, pretty interesting. And I also remember, it's so funny, I have these weird connections with Cocoon. There was an episode of DuckTales. Do you remember DuckTales?
I do remember.
I watched
a lot of DuckTales.
so much when I was little.
Had the video game too.
Yeah, I had the video game
That
as
was
well.
actually a good one.
It was great. But anyways, they went to the lost city of Atlantis, and I still remember that. So anyways, in the back of my mind, there was always like, I want to learn more about Atlantis. It's kind of interesting.
It is interesting, yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff in popular culture about it. So we're like, hey, let's talk about it. Let's see what this is all about. So today we're going to learn about that stuff.
Yeah.
This is the
My
day.
son's like one of his favorite cartoons or shows is what's the one with Michael J. Fox voices the character in it?
No idea.
It's in Atlantis.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot. I know there's a ton of those, but
Yeah,
I
he liked
haven't really
that
seen
one.
much. Yeah. Anyways, if you go onto the old Google.
Probably just called Atlantis.
Yeah, probably is. You type in the word Atlantis, 120 million results pop up. That's quite a few.
Yeah.
If you think about it. So Plato's legend of Atlantis has undoubtedly intrigued many people for a very long time, from scientists to mysticism, with many candidates being cited as the possible location for the lost and sunken civilization. We're going to talk about pretty much. It's been everywhere. It's been hypothesized that stuff
Basically, any point you've stood
Yeah.
on the planet has been at one point
Yeah.
considered to be.
we had to take a lot of them out
Atlantis.
because there's
Oh
too
my
many,
gosh.
right?
Yeah.
So
Downtown LA, I'm sure, was considered.
So did this city ever exist? If so, where could it be? Where did it go? You know what I mean? So let's start at the beginning. I mean, the story of Atlantis was first told by Plato, and pretty much only told by Plato. He's the only guy really that is giving us like it's not a first-hand account, but he's the guy that put it on paper first.
Not
Okay?
a dummy.
Not a dummy. This
So
dude,
it'd be hard to
Yeah.
okay.
I know.
He's one of the smartest guys.
He's
so.
a very smart dude. So who was Plato anyways? He was an ancient Greek philosopher born in Athens during the classical period in ancient Greece, right? In Athens, Plato founded the Academy. I mean, it's called the Academy. It was the philosophical school where he taught the philosophical doctrines that would later become known as Platonism. Plato was a pen name derived from his nickname given to him by his wrestling coach.
Really?
Run some laps, Plato. Plato, I like that.
That sounds real
Nice.
smart.
Yeah. Yeah. Allegedly because he was physically broad, and Plato has something to do with, yeah.
What kind of broad?
His shoulders.
I know they wrestled naked, so
They did. That's right. Holy Plato.
yeah. Gregor
One who
Romano.
swings around. That's what it means.
So flaccid it looks like Play-Doh.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying. His actual name was probably Aristocles. Son of Ariston. Son of Ariston.
That sounds pretty cool.
I know it does.
I'm the son of Ariston, Plato. That sounds dumb.
Yeah, it does. Plato. Anyways, some interesting things about Plato, if you don't know. I kind of went down a rabbit hole on this, too. He was the first one that introduced the idea of reincarnation. Like,
Oh,
we have
really?
immortal souls. Like, they just keep going. Not just like you die and then the worms eat you and it's over. right? This is the first one that kind of went like, hey, there might be something more going on. He alleged that souls that were good and full of knowledge could gain access to higher planes within the universe. Like you could level up, right?
Yeah,
Not
I like
only
that.
did he believe that people had souls, but he also considered the constellations to have souls as well. I don't know how a bunch of stars in the sky have souls, but he thought they did. So maybe this Plato's an idiot. I don't know.
He's a wrestler.
He's a wrestler.
He doesn't know what
That's
he's
all
doing.
he knows. Put you in a chokehold.
He's just a broad piece of meat. He's not that
Get
smart.
down and run 10 laps, Plato. Stop talking about your souls.
You're getting real deep now. I want you to do 20 push-ups.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway, Plato also helped distinguish between pure and applied mathematics by widening the gap between arithmetic, now called number theory, and logistic, now called arithmetic. And math, now called what? I mean, I don't know. Apparently he did math too, in some way, shape, or form. Anyways.
That makes you smart. It
That
does.
does, yeah, because I can't do math whatsoever. Yeah. The story of Atlantis was first told by Plato in 2 of his stories. And he said that he heard the stories of Plato from someone in his family. I think it was his grandfather or great-grandfather or something. And it had been passed down through the years. And when I say through the years, I mean 9,000 years before Plato. It's not just like 50 years ago, my grandpa was at Atlantis. No,
we were
this
at the cabin.
Yeah.
Out in
This was 9,000 years before his time, he says, is when Atlantis was hanging around doing his thing, right?
Cool.
Yeah, so he describes it as being larger than Asia Minor and Libya combined.
Wow.
Couldn't tell you even close to what that means.
A couple miles.
I don't know. Probably the size of Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't just a city, but it was an entire continent. So Plato said Atlantis existed about 9,000 years before his own time, and that its story had been passed down by poets, priests, and others. So there's some other people that knew about it. But Plato's writings about Atlantis were only known records of its existence. So the founders of Atlantis, he said, were half god, half human. I mean, that's a great mix.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about it. You got the humans and you got a god.
That's pretty amazing.
They mate, and then you get
You get a Marvel character.
Then you get Thor. You get Chris Hemsworth.
Exactly. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So they created a utopian civilization and became a great naval power.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm talking
That's
about
what I like.
ships, not belly buttons. Okay. We're not talking about the Care Bears.
Yeah.
That'd be naval power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about
Rainbow
ships.
power.
Yeah. Or was it Teletubbies? I can't remember which one did that.
Something with the tummies.
Something with the Tubbies. Their
Care
home,
Bears did, I think.
Yeah, it was
I know
Care-
they had a little emblem.
Care Bear Stare. That was a Care Bear Stare, you remember?
No.
Okay, well, maybe I'm up in the night. Their home was made up of concentric islands separated by wide moats and linked by a canal that penetrated to the center. So there's a nice wide canal right in the middle of the concentric circles.
It did look cool, like some of the
Yeah.
sketches based on his
Yeah.
like description of it.
Oh, yeah,
I was
it
like,
looks-
that looks pretty cool.
I'd like to go visit.
It's a smart design.
Well, don't they have that thing down in the Bahamas, the Atlantis
Oh yeah, they do.
resort?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Haven't been there.
Haven't been there.
Ain't a god.
I should.
Ain't a half god.
Nope. The lush islands contained gold, silver, and other precious metals and supported an abundance of rare, exotic wildlife. That's kind of cool. I like that. Cool. There was a great capital city in the central island. The architecture was extravagant with baths, harbor installations, and barracks. So they had all of it. And this was like a long time ago.
Yeah.
We're talking over 10,000 years ago. So that's why this is so crazy. The central plain outside the city had canals and a magnificent irrigation system.
Oh, I bet.
They had wheel lines, everything out there, right?
Yep.
Pivots,
sprinklers.
sprinklers.
They got all of that.
Yeah, rainbirds, everything. Anything you want, they had it out there.
Yep.
Atlantis
I like
was watered. It had kings and a civil administration as well as an organized military, which is great. Their rituals matched
I just
Athens.
picture them all with tridents.
I do too. Every
That's the
single
only
one
time.
of them walking around, checking the irrigation ditches
They all
with
just
their
look
tridents.
like, they all just look like Aquaman, like all of them.
Jason Momoa. Every
Yeah,
single one
that's
of them.
exactly what I would
Yeah.
picture.
Their rituals matched Athens for bull baiting, sacrifice, and prayer.
Okay.
So looking for a good bull baiting, this was a
Sounds like
place
a
to
nice
go.
place.
And I didn't know what bull baiting was. I actually had to look that up.
Yeah, what is that?
Basically, they tie a bull to a post and let dogs eat it.
Oh, wow.
Or
And
fight
people
it.
watch that?
People, they pay money and go watch.
Okay.
So, bull baiting was a thing.
It's the best bull baiting around.
I haven't seen a bull bait like this since, I don't know.
I haven't been to Atlantis in a while. That's real good.
Every time I come to Atlantis, they got good stuff going on.
The bull baiting shows are sold out.
Yeah, top flight bull baiters. I'll tell you that right now. You know,
That's good stuff.
that's good stuff. Put a man on that bull. That's how we do it out here in the West. You know what I mean? You got to throw dogs at it. But then it waged an unprovoked imperialistic war on the remainder of Asia and Europe. So they got greedy.
No, that's what happens.
This is what happens to all great civilizations. When Atlantis attacked, Athens showed its excellence as the leader of the Greeks, the much smaller city-state, the only power to stand against Atlantis. Alone, Athens triumphed over the invading Atlantean forces, defeating the enemy, preventing the free from being enslaved, and freeing those who had been enslaved. So here's
Don't fight Zeus on their side.
no, here's where it gets crazy. After the battle, there were violent earthquakes and floods,
Okay.
and Atlantis sank into the ocean, and all the Athenian warriors were swallowed up by the earth. End Atlantis. It's over.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
So that's the story of Atlantis. That's,
So in that case, it sounds like it wasn't too far away from Greece.
no, I mean,
necessarily.
I wouldldn't think so.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, who does know?
You know, they think they had all these advanced technologies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, some say
maybe
they
they
had
flew
flying
over
ships.
to Greece.
Maybe they were underwater already.
Exactly.
Somebody cracked the tube. And just
Cracked a tooth?
cracked the
tube,
tube.
yeah.
All the tubes and just flooded.
I'll bet they had dentists.
I bet. Oh, I guarantee it. I think the
Orthodontists.
king was the dentist.
Zeus.
Yeah.
God.
Let me work on your teeth.
Sit down in my chair. Suck and spit. Or spit and suck. I don't know.
One of the two.
Two. Say hello
Depends
to
on the day.
Depending on the day. Anyways, yeah, so that's Atlantis.
And
man.
then they were basically put into the army.
Yeah.
Like, you can't pay the bill. You're part of now the military.
Your tooth hurt anymore? No. Go fight.
Yep. Here's your trident. Get out.
Yeah. One trident
Why
with
don't you
every
get a
checkup.
trident out of the treasure chest?
Right
Just
next to the
one.
fish tank.
Just
They
one.
always got a fish tank in the dentist.
Even in Atlantis.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, those
exactly.
are sharks I caught.
Yeah, we got a bull baiting right outside the office. Brings them all in.
Yep. That is where dentists came from.
From Atlantis.
Yep.
You have them to thank.
I wonder if there's any dentists that listen.
Oh, hell no.
I know.
They listen once and
They
then it's
have
over.
stopped. Yep.
Really, if there's dentists out there listening, please message us.
I do want to know.
It's
if
all
there's
just
any dentists.
It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
But please send us a message. We would love to say
Yeah.
hi. I don't think dentists are preppers. They got so much damn money. They don't
yeah.
care.
Yeah.
we,
Seriously.
we make dentists out like they're drug dealers or something.
I know. They're like.
This
they're
is what
like
happens when you got little kids.
Escobar. They're just like
Yeah.
controlling the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all part of a big community.
Mm-hmm.
We own everything. So yeah, theories on where it existed.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
Yeah. So let's talk about first.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just say above and below?
Above and below.
North Pole
Mm-hmm.
or South Pole?
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about this
We
with
did.
the Nazis being interested in Antarctica. And so that's what I'm talking about right now.
Cool.
Antarctica was Atlantis at one point.
Okay.
So remember old Charles Hapgood,
Charles Hapgood.
the 1958 book, Earth's Shifting Crust, created a foreword by Albert Einstein.
What?
Yeah. So
I gotta get that book.
Charles Hapgood's bestie
Charles
was
Hapgood.
freaking Albert Einstein.
I gotta look that up. Does that exist? Like,
Yeah,
can you
I
buy
looked at it. I looked in a few places, and he did. He wrote the foreword for it.
No.
I was like, geez. So he has a little bit of credibility.
I need like a original. I don't want no.
You want the original, the first one?
I don't want like the manuscript.
It's buried in ice.
It's at Atlantis.
Yeah. According to Hapgood, around 12,000 years ago, the
Charles
Earth's-
Hapgood.
Charles Hapgood.
Charles Hapgood.
12,000 years ago, the
Albert
Earth's crust.
Einstein is my buddy.
And this is my best friend's child is Albert Einstein.
You don't know him.
Let me start off with that.
He
First,
equals MC squared. space-time, all that stuff. Charles Hapgood.
Charles Hapgood. Yeah, so he said that
I'm so glad Charles Hapgood made his way back
he
into
did.
the podcast.
I know what I saw. I was like, this is perfect. So displacing the continent, the Earth's crust shifted, displacing the continent that became Antarctica from a location much further north than it is today.
Okay.
This more temperate continent.
It's hard to say.
Hell, man. This more temperate continent was home to an advanced civilization.
Okay.
But the sudden shift to its current frigid location doomed the civilization's inhabitants. The Atlanteans and their magnificent city was buried.
I wonder, like how quick was this shift? Was it like
It was an hour?
It starts at noon, and by 2 o'clock
I know.
they're in Antarctica?
And that's where a lot of people argue. They're like, you can't just destroy a whole continent.
Yeah.
Like, it can't just turn into... So, I don't know, you would think that they would disperse. They're like, this place is getting too cold.
What the hell?
Let's get out of here.
This is weird.
This is what's happening right now in Vernal. So Hapgood's theory surfaced before the scientific world gained a full understanding of plate tectonics.
Yeah, that's going to come up again.
Yeah, which largely relegated his shifting crust idea to the fringes of Atlantean beliefs.
Sure.
So this is kind of where it started, peaking around, 1960s, 1970s. This also was it came about because of the Piri Race map, which, if you look at that, is a pretty good map.
Looks good.
They only have a portion of it, and I think it's not even on display because it probably doesn't exist. No, but the Piri Race map is a world map compiled in 1513 by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Race.
Piri Rice. I'll make maps.
Piri Rice, I've caught a bunch of touchdowns. That's where Jerry Rice's name came from.
Okay.
Approximately 1/3 of the map survives, and it shows the western coasts of Europe and North Africa and the coast of Brazil with reasonable accuracy. Like, it still has the same shape and shores and everything. So it basically just shows that this map shows that all the continents were closer together, and that Antarctica may have been a little further up. So maybe it was Antarctica.
Okay.
But maybe it was the North Pole, too.
What?
The professor of systematic theology at Boston University, William Fairfield Warren.
William Fairfield Warren at your service.
1833 to 1929, wrote a book promoting his theory that the original center of mankind once sat at the North Pole, entitled Paradise Found, the cradle of the human race at the North Pole. You could buy it today or sign it, and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
In this work, Warren placed Atlantis at the North Pole.
Okay.
He also said it was Garden of Eden, Mount Meru, Avalon, and Hyperborea.
Of course it's Hyperborea.
It's all of it.
It's everything.
This has been the best place in the history of the world.
Not to mention Santa Claus.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Santa Claus was king of the Atlanteans
Hyperborea.
that now just flies around and gives toys to children.
Makes sense when you think about it.
Don't think about it too hard or he won't come to your house.
Yes.
Warren believed all these mythical lands were folk memories of a former inhabited far north seat where man was originally created. So he's like, it all just kind of comes together if you think about it.
The whole thing just brings everything all together. North Pole.
Hey, get your copy of Paradise Found, the cradle of human race.
Now in paperback.
You Kindle in a million years from
Yeah.
now. Anyways,
Kindle.
so yeah, could have been at the top or the bottom.
Who knows?
Yeah.
How about mid-Atlantic?
That makes more sense.
This is
So this is where I always had thought.
Yeah, me
this
too.
was like the one that made the most sense to me.
Yeah, this is where in
Only
my
because
mind
I just picture him like we explained him.
Yeah.
Swimming around, underwater maybe.
Trident.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So this was originally postulated by the 19th century writer in Atlantis
Charles
file,
Hapgood.
Ignatius Donnelly.
Yeah, I like the names.
Ignatius Donnelly.
Yeah.
His 1882 book, Atlantis,
And that's-
the
yeah.
antediluvian world. Antediluvian.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down.
New York bestseller.
Yeah, Chicago bestseller.
Atlantis bestseller.
Who imagined the Atlantic Ocean to be no more than a few hundred feet deep and prone to the occasional vertical shifting. It ain't that deep out there, boys.
Wait around, you'll find it.
Yeah, dip your toe in it and you'll find it. You just gotta reach, stretch a
Gotta
little
put your
bit.
fingers in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you love it.
you're gonna
Don't
find
dive and break your neck.
it. Don't dive. Yeah. No way you jump.
Yeah.
Since so little was known about the ocean in his day, his theory was considered plausible by many at the time. Oh, yeah, that might work. That makes sense.
He's pretty smart. I love his name.
And to the Diluvian world, don't know what it means. Probably knows what he's talking about.
Well, wait a minute. Charles Hapgood says right here.
Yeah. Mr. Charles Hapgood is friends with Albert Einstein.
I know more from my own house.
Yeah. Anyways, so not much was known, right? At least until the advent of modern oceanography, when it was determined that the Atlantic was up to 5 miles deep in some spots and not
That's
prone
a bit deeper than the big toe.
than 100 feet. It doesn't get any deeper than 100 feet all the way across. All the way.
Yeah, you got a big straw, you walk across.
Yeah. You get them stilts and walk all the way to
Well,
Europe.
that's what I said. I said 5 miles or so.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Give or take. Well, this essentially torpedoed poor Ignatius's hypothesis as far as science was concerned.
Pun intended. Underwater.
Yeah, some continued to hold to it with great tenacity, largely because of Plato's insistence that the place existed just outside the Pillars of Hercules.
Okay.
That's an ancient term for the modern Straits of Gibraltar, implying that it had to lie somewhere in the mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
So-
And I have a little more even around that area.
For sure.
So maybe it was in Southeast Asia?
You know what they call this kind of thing in Southeast Asia? Karma.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Huh?
That's our quote for this podcast.
Yeah, that's the one from the verbs.
So geography shows that ice age water levels were 200 feet lower
Okay.
as the ice covered most of North America and
That
Europe.
makes sense,
So
yeah.
the water's way low. Ice wasn't melted yet. Modern day Indonesia is the leftover existence of a massive continent archipelago. Rich in resources and likely a location for a great civilization. That's kind of a good area, right?
Sure, yeah.
Kind
I
of
don't
makes
know
some
why not.
sense.
Yeah.
Certainly, this would account for many of flood and advanced civilization mythologies maintained by many diverse cultures from around the globe, explaining similarities between the parallel structures, pyramids, obelisks, stone carvings, and Charles Hapgood.
Charles Hapgood.
But so, yes, Southeast Asia has some really interesting, like, unique
Yeah.
history, you know? It's so different from everything that we're used to. So it's like, this was all influenced by Atlantis.
So what about the Bahamas, Bermuda, the Azores,
Yeah.
Canary Islands, and all that kind of stuff, right? So let's talk about specifically the Bahamas. Because of the discovery off the coast of Bimini Island in 1968 of what appears to be a man-made harbor wall, which is really interesting to see the photos. It's pretty interesting. Generally dismissed by scientists as a formation of beach rock containing artificial-looking but purely natural fracture lines, suggestive of a paved road. So there's a paved road in here. There's a rock wall. Like, come on, this is Atlantis, people. And due to interest in the unproven but popular Bermuda Triangle legend, remains the odds-on favorite among many Atlantis buffs, though it is far from enjoying unanimous support there. So Bahamas. We'll talk a little bit about.
It got swallowed by the Bermuda Triangle.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Somebody had that hypothesis.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of the mythical land of Mu?
Oh, is that where the cows live?
That's where the calves live.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the name of a hypothetical continent that allegedly existed in either the Atlantic or the Pacific.
It's in an ocean.
That sounds like America, right? Because we exist in between the two.
Yeah.
Depending on who you listen to. In either case, it was thought to have disappeared at the dawn of human history. Its survivors immigrated to other continents to serve as a foundation for a number of later civilizations throughout the world. Scientists are like, that can't happen. The whole continent can't just disappear.
Yeah.
So this one's a bit debunked, but additionally, the weight of archaeological, linguistic, and genetic evidence is contrary to the claim that there was an ancient civilization between the two oceans, or So, anyways, I'd never heard of the mythical land of Mu,
I'll have to look into that
but
one.
I like it.
I like the name.
Yeah, Mu.
Just 2 letters.
Yeah.
M-U. Make it simple.
Make it nice and easy for everybody to say.
How about Lemuria?
This one I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. India and the Asian continent have their own tradition, which they call Lemuria. It's an island civilization that supposedly existed in the Indian Ocean. The idea that such a place existed was first discussed by 19th century zoologist Philip Sclater as a means of accounting for the continuities he found in the biogeography of the Indian Ocean at the time. His premise that Madagascar and India may have once been part of a larger continent, which he named Lemuria, has been
Sounds like Zelda or something.
I know, has been rendered obsolete by modern understanding of plate tectonics. That plate tectonics like screwed everybody.
It did. Wait a minute.
I hurt my head. Too much work here.
Sharks have good books, no good.
Yeah, throw this in the garbage.
Take the page to Albert Einstein.
Yeah, he's still got some good theories.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Got that. Which consistently demonstrate that while sunken continents do exist, such as the Kerguelen Plateau in the Indian Ocean, there is no known geological formation under the Indian Ocean that corresponds to Sclatter's hypothetical Lemuria. But the name did at least lend its name to the tiny primates native to Madagascar known as the lemurs.
And they just jump to their death.
Yep. Woo.
It's such a weird thing.
So that's that. Before we move on, though, if you were an ancient civilization and you wanted to survive some cataclysmic destruction, you're going to want some great food
This technology came
to get you through it.
from them.
Yeah, this is direct from Atlantis.
This is Atlantis food.
Yeah, Nutrient Survival is made with real ingredients, made in Atlantis to keep Americans healthy, strong, and alert. Not Atlantis. I just threw that in there. It's made in America. Perfect for today. Ready for anything ahead. From hearty, delicious entrees and nutrient-dense snacks to immunity-boosting drinks and strength-building shakes, each with 40 essential nutrients available in handy singles, daily use pantry packs, durable cans, and 3 to 90-day survival kits, keeping your world safe and your body in peak condition. This isn't your cheap, empty-calorie, bland food storage. This stuff actually has nutritional value, and it tastes
It's
fantastic.
healthier than what you eat.
Oh, my God.
And you'll survive on it.
Yes. Check out their new NREs, Nutrition Ready to Eat. Those things are amazing. Head over to nutrientsurvival.com. Use our code CASUALPREPPERS. You're going to get 10% off. May I suggest
Wearing that sweater.
Oh, yeah, I got the Nutrient Survival sweater on. May I suggest the eggs?
Yes.
Because they're wonderful, and I love
What
them.
is it? Like the something scramble? I can't remember.
There's the home style scramble as well.
Super good.
Those two are by far my favorite.
Yep.
And what I'm going to try next is mixing them
Man.
right here.
You
See?
just open, yeah.
Yeah, just open a whole new world of flavor for everybody.
You make the holy grail.
Yeah.
You'll live another 1,000 years.
We just need to have a discussion with them, and maybe they can make one that's mixed
Oh,
for us.
yeah.
Like the casual prepper
Don't
scramble.
mess with that. They figured out the formula.
Yeah, the casual prepper scramble,
Ooh, I like that.
right?
That'd be awesome.
It's the vitamin eggs and it's the home style scramble together. Match made in
perfect.
heaven.
Yeah.
Match made in heaven.
All of your other theories are wrong.
Okay.
Atlantis was in the Sahara Desert.
That seems suspicious to me.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
this water talk
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense
Well,
now.
the desert.
But if you like,
Mm-hmm.
so Plato suggested that Atlantis was made up of a city carved into rock with
Mm-hmm.
rings and metal with a central passage to the sea. If you look at the edge of the Sahara Desert,
Yeah.
kind of Morocco area and all that, that's a good place. Going into the Atlantic,
Mm-hmm.
has a good penetrating canal to these certain places.
Yeah.
But there's a really crazy looking thing. I've never seen this before, but the Eye of the Sahara.
Oh, yeah.
It's so crazy
If
looking.
you played Civilization, you would know about the Eye of the Sahara.
really?
It's one
Okay.
of the natural
Oh,
wonders that you
is
can
it?
discover.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Gives you extra points when you build your
Hadn't
city
seen-
next to it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, but it is. It's a really bizarre. It has all those rings, so it
Yeah.
kind of falls into how Plato described
Yeah.
the Atlantean or the
Atlantis.
Atlantis.
Yes.
The Atlantean city called Atlantis.
Exactly.
So he meticulously gathered. So there's this nerdy guy,
Mm-hmm.
German scientist, used a German computer.
Okay.
He's an expert that formed his theory
The
using
Falcon Slicker
mathematics.
2000. Their names and stuff is so horrible.
Yeah.
The German language has to be like the worst.
They do.
Falcon
It's all like
2000.
wolves, and
Yeah.
well, we figured out why. But
Yeah.
yeah. So anyways, the Panzerschlager computer.
Yeah. That's exactly.
To calculate the precise GPS coordinates of the lost city. He's like, I'm gonna figure this out.
I will put this
using
into the
mathematics
computer.
and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
He meticulously gathered every detail he could from Plato's Timaeus and Critias, and
This really feels
I don't
like
even know those.
like a horrible B movie.
Yeah.
Let's gather all the information and put it
It
into the computer.
totally
We will
does.
calculate the exact
Why
location.
have no one tried this?
Yeah, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's doing it too.
Yeah, that was.
Get to the chopper. We got to get to Atlantis. Yeah.
Which describes Atlantis in detail and gives the total of 51 clues about the mysterious city.
We have 51 clues
He's
to
like
find
pulled
this
all
place.
this stuff in.
Yeah.
These
51
clues include that Atlantis was near the sea, and had ring-like
that in there.
structures surrounding the center.
Near the
Basically,
sea.
he figured out what Plato had said. Crucially, it was also said to be
Oh my gosh.
3,100 miles from Athens. Remember I was saying? It's probably not that far.
That's a long ways.
It is. That's like the moon and back, isn't it?
I don't think it's quite that far, but
What is the moon from us?
I don't know. I thought it was like 58,000 miles or something. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know.
Anyway,
How far is the moon? Hey, Google. How far is the moon from
it's
the
only
Earth?
238,000 miles.
Oh, 238,000. Yeah.
This area includes Europe, Africa, and Middle East. So,
I just
if you look
wanna
at the
s-
structure, though, I didn't even know Mauritania. I didn't know that was a country,
I didn't either.
but it's right there below Morocco. And if you recently watched the World Cup and saw how far Morocco went,
Yeah.
then you know that they have some Atlantean blood.
They have some.
They had to
in
have.
there. Yeah.
But the Eye of the Sahara looks super suspicious because it has those rings. It looks just like how Plato described Atlantis, and it's just there. It's just a natural wonder. So it's crazy. I think that's it.
It's a great
You
place
think
for
you'd
it.
be able to brush some dirt off and find some stuff, but apparently
Yeah.
there's nothing there.
Get one of those umpire brushes and get out
Somehow
there.
the circles are there,
Yeah.
but there ain't a single artifact.
Yeah, that's really weird. I can't imagine
Put it in your computer.
what this German looked like putting this information into a computer. What is it like? You know what I mean? Is he using like
It'll be very. I'm going to Russian. Yeah.
like I just don't know how do you put it in? You know, what software do you have?
Carmen San Diego. Have you ever played that?
Where exactly? Put that in there. I don't know. It's just really
Where
interesting.
in the world? That was
Yeah.
a fun game.
That was fun.
I found it on. I found a kit of like the original with the. I remember using that big old encyclopedia.
We have a board game of it.
Do you?
Yeah, we do.
The old one was sweet.
Yeah.
But I found all the original on eBay for like $3,000.
Did you
It's a
buy it?
good deal.
Did you buy it?
Yeah, I did. No,
How about America? How about being over here?
that's what I think.
Or the Mayans. So there's a lot of stuff that kind of brings some possibilities over to our side of the world
Yeah.
here. Francisco Lopez de Gomara was the first to state that Plato was referring to America.
Yeah.
Okay, as did Francis Bacon and Alexander von Humboldt.
Bacon.
Yeah. Athanasius Kircher accepted Plato's account as literally true, describing Atlantis as a small continent in the Atlantic Ocean, right? Contemporary perceptions of Atlantis share roots with Mayanism, which can be traced to the beginning of the modern age when European
Well, look at their
imagination.
architecture.
I know.
It's so unique and it's weird.
And I kind of see that as, like, every time you see Atlantis, there's always like a pyramid of sorts
It does.
in the
It
middle,
looks
right?
like they kind of use that Mayan look.
Yes. So Aztlan is the name of the mythical homeland of the
Mazatlan
Aztecs.
is pretty good.
Aztlan,
Yeah.
the ancient Mesoamerican civilization, also known as the Mexica. La Mexica. According to their origin
La
myth,
Mexica.
the Mexica left Aztlan at the behest of their god ruler Huitzilopochtli, Nancy Pelosi, to find a new home in the Valley of Mexico. She's been around that long, I swear.
I think she has.
Some
She looks
equate
like
this to
freaking
the story
ass.
of Atlantis. You know, most of these interpretations are considered pseudo-history, pseudoscience, or pseudo-archaeology, as they have presented their works as academic or scientific, but lack standards of criteria. So, anyways, there's like the Mayans and America and South America. It's
I
kind
can
of
see
in there.
that. Very unique.
It's in the mix.
Very unique.
In the mix.
So that's cool. You actually already mentioned this guy.
Yeah.
So Ignatius Donnelly. You know, we
Ignatius.
talked about his publication of Atlantis, the
I want this, too.
Antediluvian World by Ignatius L. Donnelly.
If anybody has an extra copy, please send it over.
Stimulated much popular interest in Atlantis. So we already kind of talked about this, so I'm not going to go into it anymore.
Okay.
I didn't know you had this one. I actually put it down lower. This Madame.
Oh,
Madame.
Blavatsky. So
This one's awesome.
This is one of my favorites. Madame
my favorite, too.
Blavatsky and the Theosophists. Theosophists? I don't know how to say it exactly because I'm an idiot.
Lactobacillus.
Yeah. But Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, the founder of the Theosophists, I don't know how to say it, wrote The Secret Doctrine in 1888, which she claimed was originally dictated in Atlantis.
I like this. This is so
This
real.
is beautiful. Blavatsky, who claimed to have a range of psychic powers, including telepathy and clairvoyance, traveled extensively during her lifetime. According to her voluminous writings, she was granted insight into the mysteries of the universe as a result of her travels to Tibet and conversations with various masters or Mahatmas. Okay. Members of the Theosophical Society believe in the oneness of all life and the brotherhood of all people. That's great.
It is great.
I like that, actually. They also believe in
I'm
mystical...
gonna start following this.
They also believe in mystical abilities such as clairvoyance, telepathy, and travel on the astral plane.
Yeah.
There's
can't
no better way to
imagine-
travel.
I can't imagine how many wet dreams old Himmler had
Oh, gosh.
of Madame
We need Blavatsky.
I would love her.
Yeah, she probably has some
We went
sort...
to like Russian again
Oh,
with
gosh,
it.
dang it.
I know, it's so hard. The
It is
German
what it
one
is.
stuff.
Yeah, I gotta practice my German. Anyways, she maintained that the Atlanteans were cultural heroes. So that's contrary to what Plato said, who describes them as like a military threat. Like they got big and they just started to try and fight people.
Yeah.
Because they wanted more.
That's
okay?
what happens.
I know. She believed in a form of racial evolution as opposed to primate evolution. In her process of evolution, the Atlanteans were the fourth root race, which was
Isn't
succeeded
that a movie?
by the
A rat race.
by the fifth, the Aryan race, which she identified
Ah,
in
there
the
we
modern.
go.
This is
There they are.
Now here it is, right? In her book, Blavatsky reported that the civilization of Atlantis reached its peak between 1 million and 900,000 years ago.
That's pretty solid numbers.
Yep, but destroyed itself through internal warfare brought about by the dangerous use of psychic and supernatural powers of the inhabitants.
But yet Germany wanted that.
Yeah.
Well, the Nazis, sorry. Not Germany.
The Nazis.
The Nazis wanted this.
So they were doing real well until they killed each other.
But they
by
did it themselves.
Their mind powers.
Yeah.
Their mind powers took them down.
You go to the bar. No, you go to the bar.
Oh, this is my
I won't kill you.
Your trident will go through your face.
Yeah.
now.
I guess it was a super racist book and everything, which
Yeah.
makes sense.
It is. Yeah, so that's Madame Blavatsky and the Theosophists.
So there's your Aryan
Theosophists.
race, which we'll mention a little bit again. And
Yep.
you've already heard about it. You already know everything about it.
You do.
So in Europe, there are a ton of places that are
Yeah.
suggested as being Atlantis.
We could
So-
probably go through these pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. Iris Spring. Irish Sea. In his book, Atlantis of the West, The Case for the Britain's Drowned Megalithic Civilization,
Man.
Paul Dunbavin argues that a large island once existed in the Irish Sea and that the island was Atlantis. That's
Okay.
it. That's his
Yeah.
argument.
That makes sense.
He argues that the Neolithic civilization in Europe was partially drowned by rising seas caused by a comet impact that caused a pole shift
Yes.
and changed the Earth's axis around 3100 BC.
I like that.
So that's a good one.
Yeah.
Great Britain. William Commons Beaumont said, believed that the Great Britain was the location of Atlantis. And the
Williams
Scottish
Commons Beaumont.
journalist Lewis Spence claimed that the ancient traditions of Britain and Ireland contained memories of Atlantis.
Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah.
BBC reporter that a team of Russian scientists believed they had found Atlantis in the ocean 100 miles off from the Land's End, Cornwall, Britain.
And this is 97.
Why
Yeah.
would the Russians say that? They're like,
we have found this?
we have found it. Unfortunately, it's in Britain and not off from the
Will you let us come and have a
Siberian
look?
coast. Yeah. Perhaps we can look at your military stuff to see something.
Perhaps we can check out your canals. Huh?
Does it penetrate deep into your country?
How far does this canal penetrate?
Ireland. The
Okay.
idea of Atlantis being located in Ireland was presented in the book Atlantis from a geographer's perspective, mapping the fairyland by Swedish
Sold.
geographer
Sold in the fantasy
Dr.
section.
Ulf Erlingsson
Ulf.
from Uppsala University.
This
So-
is a fantasy book.
Yeah, it hypothesized that the Empire of Atlantis refers to the Neolithic megalithic tomb culture based on their similar geographic extent and deduced that the island of Atlantis must be corresponding to Ireland.
Sure.
The North Sea, satellite image of the North Sea, which also suggests the location of Atlantis. The end. Denmark.
Yeah.
In his book, the Celts, the people who came, or the Celts, if you're a fan of the basketball team.
Yeah.
The people who came out of the darkness. That one sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I'll read
Author
that.
Gerhard
Elm.
Elm links the origins of the Atlanteans to the end of the Ice Age and the flooding of the eastern coastal Denmark. So,
Sure.
Finland. Finnish eccentric Lorbach located Atlantis in the Baltic Sea at southern part of Finland, where he claimed a small community of people lived during the Ice Age. A little bit of people here. They were the best and strongest. According to Bach, this was possible due to the Gulf Stream, which brought warm water to the Finnish coast. This is a small part of a large saga that he claimed had been told in his family through ages, dating back. Go to bed, Bach.
Lord, it's time to sleep.
Lord, it's time to go to bed.
Just one more story about the saga of the...
Perhaps I could hear a little more of the Atlantis before I go to
Oh, Lord, we just want a little more.
How many countries did Grandpa fight?
Tell me about the trident of our grandfather.
The family saga tells the name Atlantis comes from a Swedish word, Outlandis, all land ice.
All land ice.
And refers to the last ice age. Thus, in the Bach family saga, it's more a time period than the exact geographical place.
All right.
Sweden, the last one.
Not really, but...
of the European. Olaus Rudbeck's Atlantic. In 1679, Olaus Rudbeck wrote Atlantis, Atlantica, where he argues that Scandinavian, specifically Sweden, is identical to Atlantis. It's exactly the same. Not a circle anymore.
No.
According to Rudbeck, the capital city of Atlantis was identical to the ancient burial site of Swedish kings Gamla Uppsala.
Uppsala. Nice.
That's cool.
All right. How about northwest of Egypt from Greece
That
to
makes
Spain?
more sense to me.
This feels like it could be where it should be,
Yeah,
right?
I feel like the Egyptians did not come from this planet either.
So, Island of Pharaohs. Robert Graves in his Greek Myths in 1955 argues Atlantis was the island of pharaohs off the western coast of the Nile Delta. That is before Alexander the Great connected the island to mainland Egypt by building a causeway. And so the story of Atlantis has been argued to preserve a cultural memory of the Thera eruption, which destroyed the town of Akrotiri and affected some Minoan settlements on Crete. Recent arguments for the Akrotiri being Atlantis have been
I
popularized.
put one of those down my drain.
Yeah, I got me in a
Broke up that big hairball.
I called it a rotary rooter.
That rotary is a real good tool.
Yeah. Popularized on the television shows such as the History Channel's Lost Worlds episode, Atlantis, right? How about near Cyprus? I'm not talking about the credit union. I'm talking about the place on the map. An American architect, Robert Sarmas. He's just an architect.
Yeah.
He's out there designing tract homes.
If I were to design it,
Figuring
this
out
is where I
Atlantis.
put it.
Right? I don't know.
Work on buildings, go home at night and study Atlantis.
Yeah, work on ivory homes, and then later on, figure out Atlantis. He claims that Atlantis lies at the bottom of the eastern Mediterranean within the Cyprus Basin. In his book on his website, he argues that images prepared from sonar data of the sea bottom of Cyprus Basin, southeast of Cyprus, show features resembling man-made structures on it at depths of 1,500 meters. So again, it's under the water. That makes sense, right? He interprets these features as being artificial structures that are part of the lost city of Atlantis, described by Plato. So anyways, that's a good one. How about he like? He like what?
He like Atlantis.
Haliki. I don't know how to say that. How do you say it?
I don't know.
Haliki?
Sounds good to me.
A number of classical scholars have proposed that Plato's inspiration for the story came from the earthquake.
Somebody was like just totally into this is preposterous what these men are saying.
Yes,
they don't know these names.
Unsubscribe. Charles Hapgood does not listen to this kind of garbage. Okay?
He's in Atlantic and he's just like, or in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Preserved.
Yeah.
This is bull crap.
Yeah.
Balderdash.
Balderdash. Hapgood will not stand for such blasphemy.
I lost my friend Einstein. I can't take this as well.
Albert, what are they doing to us?
Albert.
Albert. I'm calling your name, Albert.
Albert. Adolf, I guess we'll have dinner together.
Yeah.
Again. Anyway.
Isn't he the guy that took out his appendix? I gotta take my appendix out. Oh, was that somebody else? Okay.
That was another guy, yeah. I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
He sounds like he would do that.
A number of classical scholars have proposed that Plato's inspiration for the story came from the earthquake and tsunami which destroyed Helike in 373 BC. He liked this version.
Yeah.
Just a few years before he wrote the relevant dialogues. How about Sardinia? That's
It's a little teeny country.
Yeah. little fishy. The concept of the identification of Atlantis with the island of Sardinia is the idea that the Italians were involved in the Sea Peoples movement. It's similar to stories of Plato's.
Stupid sea peoples.
They're out on the sea. The name of the atlas may have been derived from Italos via the Middle Egyptian language. And Plato's descriptions of the island and the city of Atlantis share several traits with Sardinia and its Bronze Age culture.
Makes sense.
So, last one I've got is Malta. Being situated in the dividing line between the Western and Eastern Mediterranean Sea, being home to some of the oldest man-made structures in the frickin' world, could be where it's at.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Northeast of Egypt, the Middle East, the Black Sea. There's a few books. Just going to mention them real quick here.
Okay.
Oh.
You want to do it now?
That just said Orem, Utah.
Yeah.
That is where I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, sorry.
Do you want me to move on to mine?
No, I got it. I got it. Just
Okay,
give
I'm
me
just
2
asking.
seconds. Jeez, man. Give me some. So, Peter James,
And
in his
John.
book, The Sunken Kingdom,
Okay.
identifies Atlantis with the kingdom of Zipalsa. He argues that Solon did indeed gather the story of his travels, but in Lydia, not Egypt as Plato states, that Atlantis is identical with Tantalus, the city of Tantalus in Asia Minor. So, it's in Turkey, actually.
Oh, yeah.
How about Troy? The geoarchaeologist Ebert Zanger, who has proposed that the hypothesis that Atlantis was in fact the city-state of Troy.
Oh.
He both agrees and disagrees with Rainer A.W. Kuhn, who too believes that the Trojans, Atlanteans were the sea peoples, but only a minor part of them.
Okay.
And then last is the Black Sea. German researchers Siegfried and Christian Schopp put it into the Panzerkrieg computer and said, locate Atlantis in the Black Sea.
Hey, Google, locate Atlantis.
Exactly. They had voice command back then. Before 5500 BC, a great plain lay in the northwest at the former freshwater lake. Rising sea level toppled the barrier at today's Bosporus, and they identified the Pillars of Hercules with the Strait of Bosporus. They gave no explanation how the ships of the merchants coming in from all over the world had arrived at the harbor of Atlantis when it was 350 feet below global sea levels. So they basically just said, it's got to be in this area. Because,
That makes sense.
I'm not going to break it down.
How about Gibraltar, near the Pillars of Hercules? Again,
I
this
can
makes
see
sense.
that one too, yeah.
How about Andalusia? That sounds like a
That sounds like a Disneyland.
Disney.
Or a Disney
Isn't it
area.
Andalasia in the one? The
Anastasia.
Enchanted, Anastasia. That's right. You're wrong. I'm right. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Andalusia is a region in modern-day southern Spain, which included the lost city of Tartessos, which disappeared in the 6th century BC. I don't know where it went. How about Spartel Bank?
Yeah.
Okay. 2 hypotheses have put Spartel Bank, a submerged former island in the Strait of Gibraltar, as the location of Atlantis.
Gonna go make a donation to the Spartel Bank tonight.
Yeah, get some good rates over there at Spartel Bank.
It was just a famous bank called Atlantis.
This one is really interesting to me. The British journalist Graham Hancock in
This one
Ancient
is,
Apocalypse.
Did you watch it? I never watched it.
I watched part of it. I didn't get through the whole thing. British journalist Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse has become a surprise cultural phenomenon since its November 11th release on Netflix. The archaeology-themed series garnered an impressive 24.62 million hours of viewing in its first week of release. That's pretty insane. So, but Graham Hancock has been writing on this subject for like years and years and years. He's released a whole bunch of different books on it. So, this isn't something new. He just finally got it on Netflix, right? And got this much attention. Hancock's show speculates that a crashing comet destroyed Atlantis or a similar lost civilization 13,000 years ago in a series of events remembered as the Great Flood. According to Hancock, survivors of the calamity spread around the world, which was then populated by simple hunter-gatherers, bringing them science, technology, agriculture, and monumental architecture. We owe everything to these near-godlike individuals, he claims. So, for good measure, Hancock, who has been promoting these ideas in his books for decades, argues that archaeologists have deliberately covered up this catastrophic vision of civilization spread and accuses mainstream academia of its extremely defensive, arrogant, and patronizing attitude. So he's saying, like, people are they're just stuck in their ways, these archaeologists, right? So anyways, that's a really interesting view on this whole thing, which kind of makes sense when you get down to the nitty-gritty and think about it.
Yeah.
You know, if there was going to be some sort of a comet hitting, you're going to want some great clothing.
Absolutely.
Because that could be...
Speaking of, did you see there's an asteroid that they think's headed right for us?
I hope so.
It's
time to cleanse this place like Atlantis. Okay? You need to get some...
bring it in. I know what state I want it to go to.
Right over here. This is called L.A. Perfect place to land.
Hit right on it.
It actually starts with L.A. You just put an N.D. at the end. That's where you land.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Makes sense. That's how you would talk to the comet.
That is.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you would...
just send a light signal.
Yeah. See, that's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, right.
Off the Grid Surplus. Their mission is to inspire greater connection through adventure. They do that by creating extremely functional and everyday wearable products for a great price to take you off the grid. How do they do it, Cam? Let me tell you. They simplify your clothing options so that you only need one piece of clothing instead of 3 or 4. It's called minimalism, my friend.
That's exactly right.
They combine the best features from outdoor, workwear, and tactical, and they put it into one amalgamation of a perfect little piece of clothing. That's how Mike Tyson would say it. Piece of clothing.
A little bit of
It's a piece of clothing.
Now he has a New York accent too, but that's okay.
Piece of clothing.
A piece of clothing, guy.
Check out their site, offthegridsurplus.com. Get an extra 15% off with our code CASUALPREPPERS15.
Guys, this is a perfect piece of clothing. Crotch guth for days, guys.
That is pretty good, Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry about that. Go to Off the Grid Surplus.
Mike Tyson endorsed.
Mike Tyson endorsed.
Yeah.
So what happened to it?
Hell if I know.
It was in
I don't know.
every part of the planet.
Yeah, and then it's gone.
Yeah, so if you're still listening,
which of course you are.
This is a little more exciting, I think. But what happened to Atlantis? Why is it gone? Why can't we find the tridents and things like that?
Yeah, exactly. Why? I would love an Atlantic, an Atlantis
I
trident.
killed a man with a trident.
Yeah.
I saw that. Atlantis was a mid-Atlantic continent that suddenly sunk into the ocean. This comes from Ignatius Donnelly, argued that the accomplishments of the ancient world, such as metallurgy. Yeah, metallurgy.
Metallurgy.
Oh my gosh. I see it, I say it, and then I'm like, my gosh, why did I say it?
Languagi
and agriculture must have been handed down by earlier advanced civilizations, as ancients weren't sophisticated enough to develop these on their own.
They were idiots.
They were dummies, so it had to be given.
Yeah.
He said, in assuming that the Atlantic Ocean was only a few hundred feet deep, he described the continent flooded by shifting ocean waters that sank the exact location Plato said it did. In the Atlantic Ocean, just outside the Pillars of Hercules, the 2 rocks that marked the entrance of the Straits of Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Long after modern oceanography and a greater understanding of plate tectonics poked holes in the shifting waters thesis. So basically, sorry, Donnelly.
You're wrong.
You can't wade across it to the Americas from Europe.
Just can't do it.
But he said it just kind of flooded and it's gone now.
Here's one of my favorites. One Atlantis writer was Charles Berlitz.
Yeah.
Grandson of the founder of the well-known language schools and author of many books on the paranormal phenomena. Funny enough, I actually have this book. Proof right there, Cam. You see it?
You do. Yeah, I did see that. I was like, that's pretty sweet. You got that.
In the 1970s, Berlitz claimed Atlantis was a real continent located off the Bahamas that had fallen victim to the notorious Bermuda Triangle, a region of the Atlantic where a number of ships had supposedly disappeared under mysterious circumstances. I don't remember. Did we talk about Atlantis in our Bermuda Triangle episode? I can't remember.
I don't remember if we did or not.
Supporters of this theory point to the discovery of what look like man-made walls. We talked about that off the coast of the Bimini Islands there. So, anyways, they think that Bermuda Triangle just ate it, and it's gone forever. Yeah. I got to read that book. That sounds interesting.
It does sound interesting. Another thing, again, a flood, but it was more of a retelling of the Black Sea flood.
Okay.
Atlantis didn't exist, but this theory states that it was just telling of the inhabitants of the Black Sea and the shores, in how I think it was around 5600 BC that there was flooding of the Black Sea and that these civilizations were destroyed that were along the outside of it. And so that is what happened. It wasn't actually Atlantis. It was just a retelling of the successful and rather abundant civilizations around the Black Sea.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Right. How about the Minoan civilization? One of the more recent Atlantean
I think I
theories.
played with them on Age of Empires.
Yeah. Concerns the civilization that flourished in the Greek islands of Crete and Thera, now Santorini, more than 4,000 years ago. The Minoans, named for the legendary King Minos. This is where Jason Momoa is from, probably.
Probably.
No. Believed to be Europe's first great civilization, the Minoans built splendid palaces, constructed paved roads, and were the first Europeans to use a written language.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It is weird.
At the height of their power, however, the Minoans suddenly disappeared from history, an enduring mystery that has fueled belief in a link between this great doomed civilization and Plato's Atlantis. Right? So there was a massive earthquake in 1600 BC, spewed 10 millions. It triggered Thera. We talked about that. The volcano eruption. 10 million tons of rock, ash, and gas into the atmosphere.
That would bury some stuff.
That would definitely
destroy some stuff.
Damage. So that's part of that as well. Interesting.
Atlantis just didn't exist at all.
This is probably true.
Yeah, Plato invented it. Most historians and scientists throughout history have come to the conclusion that Plato's account of the lost kingdom of Atlantis was fictional. According to this argument, the Greek philosopher invented Atlantis as his vision of an ideal civilization and intended the story of its demise to be a cautionary tale of the gods' punishment of humans for their pride and things like that. No written records of Atlantis exist outside of Plato's dialogues, including in any of the numerous other texts that survive from the ancient Greece. Furthermore, despite modern advancements in oceanography, drain the oceans. You know, have you ever watched that?
Yeah.
No trace of such sunken civilization has ever been found.
Yeah.
There's just nothing to find.
And the way he wrote in these stories a lot. So it kind of makes sense that he just sort of made it up as part of this story to tell, to make a point.
Exactly. No, that's
it's a lot like the Bible.
It's a lot Jesus.
Yeah. A lot like the Bible. A lot of those stories, Jonah and the whale and all those kind of things.
Exactly.
Did they actually happen, or were they just stories that were kind of passed down that made a point?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? To teach you something.
Well, it stuck.
It did.
That Jonah and the whale.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah. So that that's probably what really happened. It wasn't as cool because it didn't exist. It was more of like a analogy type thing.
Yep. So how about some other weird stuff? Maybe Atlantis was home to an alien race.
By far the best one.
This is when you get aliens.
Makes the most sense.
Yeah, check mark. Listening. Okay, right now. There's an outlandish
It's always
belief.
the default.
Yeah.
We don't understand it. It's alien.
Aliens. There's an outlandish belief that the original inhabitants of this lost city of Atlantis are believed to be of extraterrestrial origin who reached there about 50,000 years ago from the Lyrian star system. Despite being much taller and fairer than today's average human being, the average lifespan of these people is believed to have been 800 years. Cam. So that you can get pretty old when you're one of these people. 800 years old. There's also the fabled Atlantean metal called orichalcum. I think that's how you say it. It translates to of unknown origin. So this is actually kind of interesting. According to Plato, the inner wall surrounding the citadel of Atlantis with the temple of Poseidon flashed with the red light of orichalcum. The interior walls, pillars, and floors of the temple were completely covered in orichalcum, and the roof was variegated with gold, silver, and orichalcum. In the center of the temple stood a pillar of orichalcum. I'm probably saying that wrong. Someone's yelling at me.
I like the sound of it.
On which the laws of Poseidon and records of the first son princes of Poseidon were inscribed. Some say it's a type of copper mixed with zinc, or some other process
mixed
of
with crap.
Yeah, but others say it's proof of an alien race with out of this world metals. Okay,
kind of like the ones found at Blind Frog
Ranch.
Yeah,
but
that's where freaking Atlantis probably is.
100%.
You went to like 100%.
In 2015, divers actually found this metal in a shipwreck.
Oh wow, really?
Listen to this. The only problem is zinc doesn't exist freely in nature. It has to be processed. And the people of that time had no clue on how to do that. So how did it happen?
Was it a trident?
I don't know. So did aliens teach him? Did it come from somewhere else? Anyways, pretty interesting. And some even mention that the Atlanteans had flying machines and communication devices. So I don't
some
know.
freaking sick ham radios.
Oh yeah, you didn't even have to have a
ham ra-
license back then.
I know.
Yeah,
And probably travel through water.
yeah,
That's
for sure.
amazing.
Anyways,
And then last, we love the.
Gotta
well, we
end.
don't love. We
Camp loves.
We hate the Nazis, but their obsession with the the occult and the Aryan race.
Yeah.
This is all part of why they were searching down in
Antarctica. Yeah.
is because they were looking for anything to trace their lineage back to the Aryan race to give them superiority over everyone.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just that it was a movie that George Lucas thought would be great.
Yeah.
It really was that they were obsessed with this and they were trying to find it. Foundational works of Nazi philosophy, such as Alfred Rosenberg's The Myth of the 20th Century, are based around racial theory that posits that modern white Europeans descended from Hyperborean people of Atlantis, and all based on the ideas from Blavatsky's work, that crazy lady.
Yeah.
So, really, the Nazis were obsessed with this because they wanted the power, they wanted the technology, they wanted to prove that they were from this superior race that was mixed in with the Atlanteans.
Man, you actually had some better backstory on this.
I saw that. I thought you were gonna mention it.
Madame Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. Yeah, read some of that because this is pretty interesting.
Okay, you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought you had pretty much all of it.
This is information I didn't see.
Do you want the 7 roots part? That's
Sure,
part
yeah.
of
Well, the top, she was a Russian horse rider turned religious leader.
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird.
One of the major works of Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine, which Blavatsky claims was dictated in Atlantis itself. She claims that there are 7 root races of the humanity. The first were naturally invisible jellyfish.
I love that.
These were followed by the Hyperboreans, who lived at the North Pole but did not have bodies.
How did they do that?
They're just like...
Mist?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Next came egg-laying lemurs, who lived on a different lost continent, Lemuria.
Oh, she actually talked about Lemuria too, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But were destroyed. I found this at the last minute.
Yeah.
So when I saw you had it, I was like, oh, dang, that's good. After they discovered sex.
Well, that's what happens when you discover it. Everything is
can't-
destroyed.
Yeah.
Why should we do anything else
That
when
is
sex
the
exists?
truth. That is the truth.
Yeah.
4th were the Atlanteans. 5th were the Aryans, which is to say her own race. And then 6th and 7th races are still to come and will live on Venus.
That's going to be pretty hot.
Yeah.
I don't want to live on Venus.
So yeah.
Interesting.
That's cool, huh? But
Yeah.
so it's obviously mixed in a ton with
Yeah.
different conspiracies and occultism, and the Nazis were obsessed with it. They tried to find their direct lineage to the Aryans that was all tied in with Atlantis. So
Man,
there you go.
that's Atlantis.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, what was this part? Yeah, and they were trying to prove that Jesus was also from Atlantis, like them.
Oh, yeah.
And that ultimately they came from a race of lemurs that laid eggs. So like the reptilians, kind of, but little lemur looking.
Lemur looking.
These underwater egg lemur boys thought they deserved to live more than non-underwater lemur boys.
So
we live in a wild.
it is really similar to Cocoon.
Yeah,
because they were
that's
eggs,
true.
right?
That's true.
Yeah.
So weird.
Wow. Maybe we need to watch Cocoon.
Oh my gosh.
That's the whole crux
My
of
parents
this
are
whole
probably
thing.
watching it right now.
Yeah. It's got Wilford Brimley in it. Another thing for
Who else is in it? There's some other big actors.
it's got what's his name?
Dreyfus is in it, is he? No, I'm thinking of
that's Close Encounters. It's got the guy. His name is right on the tip of my tongue. He's in is he in 3 Men and a Baby? What the crap is that? He's in a bunch of stuff in the 80s. I think we talked about him not too
the big
long
buff
ago.
guy. Or
No.
Or are you talking about Tom Selleck?
No, not
What's
Tom
the other
Selleck. Frick. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I can't remember. Anyways, Wilford Brimley was in it, right? Steve Guttenberg is in it.
Yeah.
That's
He's
who
the
I was
guy that's
thinking
saying
about.
he has a huge like.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
I
like
don't
got a really buff chest.
Oh, okay.
I was like, he doesn't look like somebody that would be ripped, but he kind of.
But yeah, Wilford Brimley was in it. He was one of the old guys who was supposed to be living in like the.
Yeah, that's right.
He was only 50 years old when he did it. They actually had to like dye his hair, bleach it
Steve Guttenberg,
white.
yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, pretty interesting. Go watch.
Oh, the
Cocoon.
guy that was in.
Go watch Cocoon.
Yeah.
The guy that was in Tommy Boy was in it.
Yeah, the one that was in
The
First
dad.
Blood, right?
Yeah, I think so.
He was the
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hope you didn't learn anything.
I hope you
that's
did.
what we did.
I hope you did.
We just went
Actually,
all over the
I learned a
place.
lot about Atlantis.
I
I
did
thought that
too.
was interesting. I hope we figure it out one day.
It's something that's been there, just like maybe, and I know people keep continuing to search for it.
Yeah.
But after like reading through all this, I'm like, I can see why it's confusing.
There's
and where to
actually
even start.
there was a guy on.
I still think it's in the Atlantic somewhere.
There was a guy
Underwater.
on the Rogan podcast who does YouTube videos that are
Atlantean?
insanely good. Jimmy Corsetti. So if you want to learn more about this, go look at his YouTube videos. They're like insanely cool. Lots of interesting stuff. Jimmy
Really?
Corsetti, yeah. Can't remember what his channel is called, but if you look that up,
I
you'll
had
find it.
fun with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully you
Good
guys
stuff.
did.
Yeah. Thanks,
If you're
guys.
still listening.
Make sure you've subscribed, you've shared us with your friends, and you followed us on all the socials. Okay?
Yeah.
Adios. Stay survived.